We are and have been now since '99. We're a no huddle offense. We try to go fast. When we're on offense, our guys never really gather together. They all stand up at the line of scrimmage and they look to the sideline for a signal. They get the signal and they run the play. Play's over, they look for the next signal. They get that signal and they run the next play. So the tempo is a little bit faster. For the typical fan that's used to watching traditional football, this is more interesting to them a lot of times because it's more like basketball. They can kind of see the action a little bit more. In addition to that, we throw the ball more than the traditional team. We're typically about 50-50 run and pass. Most teams at the high school level, as far as tradition goes, they've been running the ball about 80 to 90% of the time. Well, when the ball is ran up inside, a lot of guys up inside, a lot of times the typical fan that doesn't know a whole lot about football can't see the ball and wants to know why they're not running around the edge. For us, we line up with, at any given time, we'll have 4 or 5 receivers lined up. We'll be in shotgun, so our quarterback won't be under center. And with us throwing the football, the fan can see the football. I mean, most of the time they can see the football and where it's going, so it allows them to be a little bit more involved in the game. But that's something that makes us different. We'll throw the ball, we'll be a spread type offense, so we won't have a whole lot of backs in the backfield, we won't be under center, and we try to work at a pretty quick tempo. I don't think probably anything in football is ever original. However, we try to be as non-traditional as possible because we want the other team to have to work. We don't want their coaches to be able to look at the film and say, okay, this is the base offense, we can play a base defense from it, no adjustments, everything will be normal. And the same thing with special teams. The special teams coordinator, we want them to have to look at it and say, what do we need to do to be able to handle this? Same thing with field goals. As we go through things, we try to do that, and then that becomes our base. So that's what we practice whenever we're in practice. That's what we were working on. The other team, we feel like we have the advantage because the other team is going to see the traditional look 9 weeks out of the season, and then they play against us, they're going to see something that's a little bit different. So is it all my creativity? I don't think that I'm necessarily that creative, but I watch film and I look at things and I look at advantages that teams get for doing specific things, and those are the things that that we try to borrow and adopt and try to put in place for us. This is going to be different, that's for sure. I'm sure that the people coming to the games and see a lot of the freshman faces. Losing 21 seniors is big for our program. It was a big group of kids. Most of them had been with us all 4 years. So there's going to be a big turnover. We've got some young kids, though, that have had an opportunity to play some quality snaps in the varsity games when we had some games that kind of got away. We took a big lead in the second half of games last year. Guys got a lot of reps, so they've got playing experience, but they don't have that starting experience. So we're looking at, right off the bat, we're looking at probably 4 or 5 sophomores that could start for us on offense, and that could be 3 or 4 that could start for us on defense as well. So it'll be different. Sometimes it's just kind of it goes in cycles, and the way it ends up going is you have a big class, and sometimes right behind it be a smaller class because they didn't want to wait until they were seniors to play, and they didn't think they could beat up and get ahead of them, so they just decided to do something else. And that's kind of the case. So we've got 5 seniors that are playing this year, and they're good kids and good football players in there, but there's just not a whole lot of them. So it'll be different. We're going to have some growing pains. I know as many young kids as we have, and we've talked about that. The biggest shoes that we have to fill will probably be a quarterback. For us losing Jordan Webb, he's a 3-year starter, and he even played a little bit as a freshman quarterback for us. Was a good leader and was a solid football player for his last 3 years. And so Chris Savage is the kid that we're looking at stepping into there, and he's a sophomore. He'll be my 5th sophomore starting quarterback that I've had since I've been calling this offense. And he's a bright kid. He's able to do some things. So I'm pleased with how he's progressed. He's going to need help from other guys, just like Jordan did when he was a sophomore. He had senior receivers that he could throw to, and he had guys making plays for him. Chris is going to have some guys step up and make some plays for him to help us out. But he's doing fine there. Ryan Bader's a kid that's filling for Adam Amato initially at running back. Ryan will also play linebacker, but Adam again is a 3-year starter. So Ryan's got an opportunity to be a 3-year starter depending on his health and how things go if he keeps progressing. But those are big shoes to fill. In addition to that, we lost Isaac Cornell and Malcolm Stanley last year, receiver positions. We also lost Drew Bromé and Steve Persky, receiver positions, and then our number 5 receiver was a senior as well, Nathan Hayes. So we're replacing all those guys. Guys that are stepping up in their rostering, Tyler Thompson, Bobby Vonderay, Brian Coons, Brian Schaefer, Trevor King, Jake Overschmidt. Those guys are rotating. And actually, it's a good mix. I'm really pleased with how those guys have progressed and how they've been growing. I'm really pleased with them. Up front, we lost 4 senior linemen, so we're going to have some guys that have to step up. Tyler Gaither, our returning starter in the offensive line. He's a good one. He played really hard for us last year and did some good things for us last year. He'll do the same thing this year. He's got to help be a leader and bring some other guys along. Some of those line-type guys that are coming. Griffin Denke is one that's a junior that we anticipate being a really good one for us. He started at right tackle. And then we've got Cody Nichols that's playing at right guard. Left guard is Tony Schmidt. Christian Houston's rotating in there, and Cody Post is going to be our left tackle starter. So we've got, again, some new faces there, but kids are working hard and they're committed to what we're doing, so we're pleased with our progress so far. I think as we look at the conference and everyone when I talk about this about being pretty wide open, there's a lot of schools lost a lot. We lost 21 seniors, Solon lost 18. It's kind of balanced out. I think Pacific has a chance to catch up with some people this year because they returned some special players. I think Lawrenceville again, they returned a lot of players from last year's team, so they have an opportunity to take a couple steps forward. And I know they had a rough go last year at times during their season. St. Clair lost a few skilled kids, but they returned their linemen, and that speaks a lot for the team when you return your offensive and defensive linemen. I would expect them to be probably the team to beat, be very tough. Permanence and coach coming in, and they lost some kids, and so there's going to be some transition there, but you never know. They're doing some different schemes, and kids can pick it up and really roll. St. James lost a lot of seniors. So, they've got an opportunity with some new kids stepping in. I know they've got some good younger classes. They can have an opportunity to be competitive as well. So, there's a lot of there's a lot of things that can happen. I think we've got a chance in the conference as long as we continue to improve. If we go straight line and don't really improve any, we're going to struggle with some teams that are in the conference.